alien invasion. Is it biblical? Of course it is.
Clearly, I'm not here today as a fact witness.
You can Google it.
I think you just use the Bible, do whatever the hell you like.
Just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
It is Mystery Bible Theater 3000. Welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done Mystery Bible Theater 3000. We got an interesting one today, and when I say interesting, I mean wackadoo for sure. It is, we're going to leave it at wackadoo. Somebody's been sniffing glue and putting glitter in it for sure, man. Actually, I was watching this video. I sent it to Rob recently. I've been sick. That's why my voice is the way it is. But I sent it to Rob. When I was watching this video, it actually made me sad. And usually the good Mystery Bible Theater 3000 videos that we respond to usually make me really sad. This one made me really sad because it shows not only a hardness of heart, it shows a defiance against God.
A rejoicing in defiance, in a way.
Yeah. A pride.
A strange rejoicing.
Pride against God.
Pride is a good word.
Yeah.
For this.
Anyway, all right. Should we just jump into it, or should we talk more about it? All right.
Let's
Well, before we do that, if you got videos you want to send us for Mystery Bible Theater 3000, Hegg at TorahResource.com, Hegg at TorahResource.com. And also, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Our subscribe button still says Season 9. My bad. It's Season 10, for those who don't know. Okay. We're going to just go with it here. Let me switch views. Hang on just a sec. Before I switch views, let's get back to there. Okay, good. Here we go. So switching views. This is from a YouTube channel, and our listeners will now know where this is going to come in at. It's called Jesus. So obviously this is a play on the name Jesus, placing gay in the middle of it, and I think you're going to find out why really soon. Here we go.
Friends, let's actually not do this. It's called Messianic Judaism, and it's not good. In fact, it's appropriation and totally degradation of the Jewish faith. Please do not do any Jewish practices or holidays, unless, of course, with one exception, you've done the years of work to study it with a rabbi, and then you convert into Judaism. But then, at that point, it wouldn't really be Messianic Judaism, you would just be Jewish.
Okay, so there's a lot going on here. For those who might be listening to this on podcast form instead of seeing it, what we have is a young man. I don't know if he's attempting to look like the standard view, like the standard picture of Jesus. Is that what you're getting out of this? You know,
yeah, like you watched some Jesus movies from the 70s or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he's got, I think he's got makeup on in this one, maybe. Anyway, and then what looks like
some glitter.
Yeah, some glitter.
I think.
Definitely glitter. Definitely glitter.
Some of it that came out of the glue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, and then a scarf over his head that is a rainbow scarf, of course. Okay, so much going on here. First of all, I think the thing that has to be pointed out first and foremost is that this person is appropriating Christianity. Like he's saying, don't appropriate.
He appropriated the name Jesus.
Appropriated the name Jesus. He's taking a different culture, something that's clearly not his, and dressing up and appropriating it himself, and yet he is then telling other people
to be a voice for it. Apparently, like it's like a ventriloquism kind of
think
thing.
He's trying to be a voice against it. It's making fun in a way to making fun to degrade, right? I went and looked at other videos on his channel. It's a whole lot of shorts that are responding to Christianity or making fun of Christianity or whatever it may be. And
okay, so he's not promoting a left-oriented version of Christianity.
I don't think so. I think he's more making fun. But you know what?
Well,
look, but in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I think any person who attempts to meld homosexuality, LGBTQ plus whatever, with Christianity is mocking it.
That is a tradition of man. That's
they're mocking
not from the Bible. That's a foreign.
So whether or not
thing.
he's bought into this form of idolatry, or whether or not he is just making fun, he's making fun no matter what. He's appropriating and making fun of Christianity no matter what. So that's number one. Second of all, now I'm not gonna dig him on his pronunciation of Messianic Judaism as opposed to what does he say?
Would you think he's conflating like Shabbat, Pesach, and he's saying those are Jewish holidays and they're not for Christians?
Yeah. Okay.
So is it telling Christians to stay away from the Torah, or is he telling Christians to stay away from the rabbis?
Oh, dude. Yeah. You and me, we're right here. We're on the same plane, because what I thought was, it's interesting that he hits on something that I think Messianic Judaism hasn't. Messianic Judaism has appropriated what I would consider to be, now, once again, I actually don't think that there's anything wrong with this. To appropriate someone else's culture, or to explore it, to try to understand, live in, experience other cultures around the world, I actually think is a good thing. I think that until you get to some points. And in other words, I don't think that there's anything wrong with me exploring my wife's Mexican heritage and having Mexican art and Mexican food.
Okay, how about jiu-jitsu?
Exactly. So, and which form of jiu-jitsu? Are we talking about Japanese jiu-jitsu, or are we talking about Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Instrumentalists, right?
Exactly.
Guitar.
Exactly.
Cello. These are, I think the guitar was really developed in Spain, or definitely in Europe, but
ultimately the point here is simply that people say all the time, like, you're culturally appropriating. I don't think that there's actually anything wrong with a person culturally appropriating. Now, some might say, okay,
would he say that that's different than identifying? I don't know, like someone's identifying.
I would never attempt to say what this person is saying, but I think that the idea of culturally appropriating is this: someone takes another person's culture and then doesn't do it correctly. I think that might be, and I could be wrong on this because I haven't looked into cultural appropriation a whole lot, because honestly, once again, I don't really care. And people are going to say, well, you don't care because your culture isn't being appropriated. I would argue against that.
I saw there was a video of a guy in San Francisco. He dressed in like this traditional, like Chinese clothing, like this really like dignified, colorful, obviously not his normal thing. And he was going around like Berkeley and asking people, and they're like, oh, you're culturally appropriating. You shouldn't be wearing that. What are you doing? And then he went to Chinatown, and there were all these old Chinese women coming up and touching it, go, oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And he's like saying, are you okay me wearing that? And they like, yeah, like they loved him wearing it.
Yeah, there's a guy that I follow
in Chinatown.
Right, there's a guy that I follow on YouTube, and he talks about Japanese culture. He lives in Japan and is Japanese, and speaks English very well. But he talks about Japanese culture, and at one point he said, somebody asked me from America if they could wear this kind of stuff too. And it's not offensive to Japanese people for you to wear all this. We love it because it means that our culture is going out. It's like, there you go. So anyway, I don't really understand the ins and outs of people's disagreement with cultural appropriation. However,
I would look at it like this, though. I think there are places where I would almost say that there's a grain of truth in what this guy is putting out there.
Exactly.
Is the idea that I don't believe that the body of Messiah has any rabbis in it.
Right.
I mean, it's not a thing.
I don't see this as, but you and I don't think we would see this as cultural appropriation. What I see this is you have a religion which is not fully based on the scriptures. And the parts that are not based on the scriptures, much of what is not based on the scriptures is based on something other than scripture, which means that it's based on something that you probably don't want to be incorporating into your worship. I use the term following after the Baals a lot, and the reason why is because I think that, other religions are what have influenced much of modern day Judaism. And what the Messianic movement has done is they have taken those traditions that are not biblical, and they've said, hey, great, let's do these too. And
okay, let me. If there was a Muslim sheikh who came to faith in Yeshua, but he was now would he keep the title sheikh? Like he's now in the church.
I mean, what if
Sheikh Muhammad?
I mean, what if he still was using this will show my ignorance of Islam, but what if he was still using the Islamic prayer book and using the Quran to like he's using the Quran to justify his theology? I mean, so ultimately, even though this person is clearly way off in so many different realms, the interesting thing about this is he has hit on a part of Messianic Judaism that makes me scratch my head too. Like, what is it about Judaism that makes you want, now, clearly we can talk about things like Passover. We can talk about things like the Shabbat. We can talk about things that Yeshua not only did, but also things that are beneficial because they're in the Torah. This is not appropriation. This is part of the Christian heritage. Our heritage is the Torah. And I think the big misstep of Christianity is that they have tried to disassociate themselves from the laws of Torah. They've attempted to disassociate themselves from the foundation of Torah. There's a disassociation that Christianity as a whole is attempting to do, and this has happened all the way from the very beginning. We see this in the patristic fathers and whatnot. But the point simply is this: that's not appropriation. That is actually part of the Christian heritage. Now, things like, choose your rabbinical whatever you want to say. There's a lot of rabbinical traditions that I wouldn't call them appropriation. But I don't think that they're necessarily beneficial to, I don't understand why a person's going to read the Talmud and say, yeah, this is going to structure our lives. That makes no sense to me at all.
When you go back to the emergence of rabbinic literature, in late antiquity, you have that discussion of where there's kind of this flip from, okay, we accept that there's Jewish communities all over that speak Greek and use the Septuagint and a Greek Torah. All of a sudden there's a flip and Greek is bad. Right. And the translation of the Torah into Greek was as bad as the day of the golden calf, they say. And then you have this emergence of this idea of oral Torah that is the parallel or second revelation from Mount Sinai that demarcates God's true people. Right. And that, so the idea is, well, they don't really have it. So the rabbis, I think, up until the rise of Islam and then even beyond, the idea is, yeah, it's true that Christians have, or that, they have something called, but they don't really have the Torah. Only we have the Torah. And it's only for us. It's not for them. Yeah. And so there is this element of like, why did they say that when the Torah was translated into Greek, it was as bad as the day of the golden calf? Was because that was like a bad thing, right? It's a bad thing. The Torah is only in the hands of the rabbis. Everything else would be kind of, now they don't use the word cultural appropriation, but they're saying that's, it's not legit. It's illegitimate,
Yeah, I think that, once again, I think I've been struck recently, and maybe this is totally off topic, but I've been struck recently with the ignorance of topics that, like, ignorance in specific topics that people have. And this includes myself, by the way. Like certain topics that I haven't really studied out, the more you start to study them, the more you realize, like, wow, I'm totally ignorant to a lot of the different elements of this. One of the things that I'd really, like, if I were talking to this person face to face, one of the things that I would want to ask is, okay, talk to me about like what parts of Judaism you think are being appropriated, because obviously Christianity comes from a Jewish, I mean, let's use the term, a Jewish rabbi of the first century, right? And he is basing, Yeshua is basing his faith clearly off of the Torah, clearly off of the prophets, clearly off of the writings. He is interacting with the Judaisms of his day. He is pushing against certain traditions. It seems as though he's making his own traditions as well. Okay, so this is clearly set up as a form of Judaism. If we were, or a form of faith, right, within the Judaisms of the day, maybe is a better way to put it. So would this young man consider Passover or Yom Kippur or, you know, a kosher diet? Would these things be considered Jewish appropriation? Even though
I don't know if they thought of it, maybe he's not thought of it that much. He might just think, oh, Christianity is, you have Easter, you have Christmas, you know, Passover's for the Jews.
But once again,
You know,
this goes back to my point, is that I think a lot of people are trying to argue things without understanding the complexities of the issues. You know, this is one of the reasons that I think that Christians as a whole, we really are called to study, even though it might not be our full-time job or anything else like that. We are called to study and to get down into the nitty-gritty of things, because that's what it takes to understand a lot of the nuances of our own faith.
Well, even in, like, is it Methodism and some of these more the branches of Christianity that in the 20th century moved further and further to the left,
right,
and embracing alternative lifestyles, and even you know, in supporting same-sex marriage, or then even having LGBTQ pastors or teachers set up, or like we did, you know, drag queen Bible story hour kind of thing. Okay. Even those branches now are splitting.
Right.
Because there's like people are going, wait a minute. We've lost traction from the Bible.
Right.
You know, so it, and I'm so happy to see those moments, that even though I think the whole branch is in danger of getting lopped off, the fact that you have even the smallest voice come out, say, wait a minute, it doesn't track with scriptures. Now they have to go back, though, and look at the scriptures, and they have to go, and core to that concern, core to that, that kind of gut feeling or reaction they have that it doesn't track with scriptures, is the commandments. It's God's law.
Right.
It's like, what is the place of God's law? Does it apply or not? That ultimately is the question that they're having. So they have to go and investigate it.
Let's go back real quick to this gentleman who did this video, though. Do you think that do you think I'm overthinking it? Maybe this person just doesn't realize that Christianity is based on Judaism. Like I think
we
so.
That's why I was wondering. I mean, I have no idea who this person is, but could they just be?
We shouldn't use the term.
Could they be going to a church, like a real left, like Methodist, you know, church where there's
they
a
don't
gay
understand
pastor or a trans pastor, or
I'm using the term.
You know,
I got to catch myself here. I'm using the term. I said based on Judaism. I don't think that Christianity is based on, quote, Judaism. I think it's based on the Bible, and Judaism comes out of the Bible. But
Right.
it's in that realm of all of you know, the origin of the Judaisms of the first century and Christianity are all in the same realm. Sorry, I know that I'm going to get emails on that. Keep going.
Yeah, and so I just wonder that is whether this person is inside a left super liberal church,
Right.
or is an outsider poking fun at Christianity from just a, you know, and just wants to get viewers by putting Jesus
No matter
on
which
his name or whatever.
No matter which one is the truth, though, it is clearly, whatever this angle this person is coming from, what they're doing is clearly not in line with the Jesus/Yeshua, the true Yeshua of the Bible.
Right,
I mean, clearly.
correct.
So it's other. It's not biblical. It's not what, you know, it's not what Jesus taught.
It's another term we'd use in comparative religion studies is syncretism. He's taking values from different and symbols and values from completely different systems and mixing them, blending them together, and trying to present them as a coherent whole. That would be like in the ancient world, someone taking the name of the God of Israel and putting it up with Zeus or something like that, and saying, "Oh, this is your new God," or the golden calf. This is kind of like the golden calf. Say they make an idol and say, "This is the God that brought you out of Egypt." It's a syncretism of some sort of biblical symbol mixed with some sort of new sensational tradition of man, and then selling that as like, oh, this is something to listen to. This is something real, when in fact it's not real. Yeshua time and time again says the word of God endures, right? Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. He says you cling to your traditions and you disregard or neglect the commandments of God, right? It's over and over and over again. And so this person is accusing or telling people, oh, it's not good. He's accusing, I guess he would say Messianic Judaism is syncretism, which in some degree, I guess, like we already talked about, I would agree in it possibly in some ways. But I think but that's lost on this person. I think they don't see that clearly, but at the same time, they are guilty of doing the same thing. But is it satire, deliberate syncretism just for the sake of satire, or do they believe in a Christianity that is pro LGBTQ? So
the only reason that I think that it could be satirical is because I saw another video by the same person who said that he believes that they should teach religion in school. They should have a comparative religions course that teaches atheism and all other religions comparatively without dogma in high school. So, and you know what, to be completely frank, I am not in a realm where I'm debating or discussing with progressive Christian, liberal Christianity. I don't know if that's something that liberal Christianity would push, or if liberal Christianity would, because ultimately liberal Christianity is getting into a postmodern thought, right? And that postmodern thought is, hey, my truth is my truth, your truth is your truth. So if you're an atheist and you believe that you're being kind to everybody, great. That's totally fine. You don't need Jesus. You can believe whatever you want. I'm going to take this flavor of religion, which is, a form of Christianity. I'm going to say Jesus is this, this teddy bear in the sky that I want to hug. So I don't know. Once again, I don't know which side that would fall on, but it seems to me like, obviously it's a mockery whether this person is intending it or not. That's all I'm saying. All right. If you have a video that you want to send us for Mystery Bible Theater 3000, go ahead and do so. You can send it to chegg at TorahResource.com, CHEGG at TorahResource.com. And we will see you next week. Hopefully we'll be back with another Mystery Bible Theater 3000. Thank you so much, everybody.